Hello, my pretties. Welcome to the Halloween JoyRide. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, we have a whole crew here.
We do.
Today. I don't know how Day of the Dead is supposed to sound, so I'll leave the sound effects up to Tiffany.
Whoa.
All right, so we have, oh my goodness, we have Kari from The Shiny Show with us. Woohoo!
Kitty Kari.
We have Sara Kujawa.
To keep us all in line here.
I love the handcuffs on the mic. Yeah. And then all the way from Belgium, we have Miss Emma and her husband, Gerald, which you can't see right now, but you can when we post this on YouTube. And when you guys hop over to YouTube and hit subscribe. Anyway, all right, so we have a great show. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to talk all about Halloween. We're going to talk about spirits, ghosts, hauntings. Ooh. But we want to do it in a positive way. We're not all into the uber creepy, evil, ghosts and goblins.
I used to be, but after I had kids, I couldn't do it anymore.
No, we want to make this where we have an understanding of ghosts and ghouls and goblins, and they have a place, but not in our world.
Not the negative ones.
So everybody's got a little ghosty story to tell, or a little speaking with spirit. So we're going to jump right in. And we want you guys, if you're joining us live on Facebook, we would love for you to pop in and say hi and tell us the experiences that you're having, or what Halloween means to you, or let us hear from you.
Okay, so I have to start off by saying I have this big old bun on my head, so I can't put the microphone on. So I know
I'm holding mine too.
They're
going to fall off my ears.
It just looks funky. All right, so
hi, ladies.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us. I love everybody's costume. Thank you for getting
look
all.
how cute we all are.
Carrie the kitty.
Meow.
Sarah the cop. The mall cop.
Mall cop, security guard.
Can I show?
She
brought donuts. She brought
Calorie-free, sugar-free.
Vegan-free.
Vegan. Garbage. They're garbage.
They're kitty treats.
Okay, so explain the popo to us.
Well, originally we talked about I was going to be the police officer.
Louder.
I was going to be the police officer. Carrie's the cat burglar. That's the plan. But then when I walked into the building, I thought, I feel more like a security guard or
Paul Blart.
Mr. Blart. You're Miss Blart.
She's Sarah Blart today.
And Emma and Gerald are all decked out.
You're
tell
so
us
cute.
Tell us the inspiration for your costumes, guys. Wait, we can barely hear you. We can't hear you. We thought we tested everything.
We could hear you 2 seconds ago. Eric.
Turn it up.
There you
are.
Woohoo. That was scary.
Okay.
Halloween scary.
I'm a fallen angel, so at least that was the inspiration.
You
I got my
are.
little feathers.
Oh, those are feathers. They look lovely. And
Yeah,
Gerald?
total. And Gerald.
Dracula.
Bloodsucker.
Bloodsucker.
You know, for me, this is my very first time ever to dress up for Halloween.
She's a Halloween virgin.
What? You guys are my first.
You're getting ready.
Yes.
It's because you're getting ready to move to the States.
Woohoo.
That's why.
She's been Googling my house. I'm gonna lease my house out to her. I swear
So,
I am.
do you not celebrate Halloween in Europe? I remember when I lived in England, just nobody celebrated it with the Halloween, the trick-or-treating and costumes and parades and all that.
Well, I remember as a kid, nobody ever talked about Halloween, and I think it's been about 10 years now that some decorations have been popping up, and people are decorating a little bit their homes, but really having, they do have a few parties here and there, but it's very rare. But really the kids trick-or-treating, we always wait year after year. There's nobody that comes, unfortunately.
You eat all the candy.
We eat all the candy ourselves. But yeah, it's not something we grew up with. So it is something that I think becomes more popular with the movies and all of that. And it sells, I guess, whatever sells will come out.
Right. We were watching some documentaries about the history of Halloween, and there are so many ancient rituals, festivals, gods, goddesses, and legends that are kind of woven into Halloween, and it's completely different than the commercial candy.
Well, like Christmas, you know.
kids version that we have now. There's so much ancient history behind
Thousands of years.
Thousands of years.
And it is, but now they say that when you add up the costumes, the candy, $6 billion a year.
Wow.
It's the
It's
second
not
only
even
behind
US.
Christmas.
Halloween starts in July in America.
Yeah, it really does. So much
Christmas
fun,
started
though.
about 3 weeks ago.
I know.
Doesn't it make you crazy? It used to start after
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
That was
And now
November
it's-
1st.
It's
At the
decorated.
very
West Grace
latest.
decorated. I know.
It's
crazy.
all decorated.
Okay, so can I tell my
Please.
first ghostly encounter? Not really. I mean, not like if you take like the grandfather thing away when I was a kid. So I lived in this little cute little apartment above a garage. It was maybe, I mean, it was tiny. And I just remember one night I got home really late. I just moved in, and I hear footsteps upstairs. I'm like, okay, no. I mean, I went around knocking on doors asking if someone would walk inside with me. Ooh. Nobody was up, so I kind of sucked it up and
Grew
went
some
upstairs.
and went- yeah.
Grew a pair and went upstairs. So that was the first thing. And then I had lights that would fall, like the light over my bathroom sink fell twice.
Oh.
And then the curtains would fall off the wall, or the deal. And then the biggest one day I was sitting there and my little like boombox thing totally turned on all by itself.
Ooh.
And this is before you had all the stuff
Right.
that you could program. So yeah, I had a little ghost, but it was fine. He wasn't mean. She wasn't mean. But this is before I knew like how to contact, and it kind of scared me. But that was it. So that was my first one. What about you?
Well, the ghost story I'm choosing to share, because I have a few myself. But I'm going to tell the story of when Allison and I were in UK last year.
Oh, it's such a good
It's
story.
such a good story. And
know
we
this
were,
one.
and Allison had been there for a week or longer visiting her family, and she kept going to her old haunt. And it was called, what was it called? I
Anyway.
can't even remember the name of the
It was a
place.
pub, right?
It was
Oh,
a
the
pub.
Woodpecker?
The Woodpecker Inn. That was it. Thank you.
Good memory, Sarah.
So she had been going there. She kept telling me about this spirit in the back. And I can't remember. I think she already knew his name. His name was Jonathan. So she took me there, and I met all her friends, and I was having a real life Todd Morden experience. And she goes, come on, let's go meet Jonathan. And there was like this little room in the back, and we were hanging out there, and there he was. And so I was talking to him and just trying to figure out why he was there. And he said, well, he was kind of fearful to cross over. He didn't know what was going on the other side. And so I was talking to him, and I'm like, so what is time like for you? And he goes, well, you know, there's no time. The only thing is that I go, do the clothes keep changing? He goes, yeah, the clothes keep changing. That was like his only indication that time had passed. And he still really wasn't sure where he was or who we were, because nobody had talked to him in like 200 years. So he asked us if we were witches, and I got such a kick out of that.
Maybe.
I'm like, yes, but we're good witches.
Good witches.
So we had, tried to tell him about crossing over and what was on the other side, and we called in he spoke about his brother. He missed his brother or something, so he called in his brother. And Alice, I don't know what we did. I'm still not sure of it, but we made a portal. So there was like a big portal above my head, a big blue energetic hole.
Could you see it?
I couldn't see it, but Allison could. So we're trying to tell him to go on through, and it will be okay. And his brother came through. He can see his brother through the portal. So he went ahead and he crossed over. So we like saved him, and I felt like such a hero. Well, a couple weeks later, I was telling my husband the story outside, just sitting on the porch together. And as I'm reading this story, I get this, I'm telling him, relaying the story. I get this huge feeling of just emotion. This is before I understood what was going on, and I was just gripped with love, and my whole body lit up, and I doubled over and started crying. And I looked at my husband and I said, I think Jonathan's here. So later on, he came on the Shiny Show, and I got that opportunity to ask him, was that you that day? And he said, yes. I
Heck
came over
yes.
because I was so grateful for the help that you had given me, and I wanted to come share my gratitude with you. So that's my ghost story. It's not ooky at all. It's a beautiful one, and I just love that.
That's a great one.
Thanks.
It makes me cry.
I know. I could get weepy about that
You
one.
can't.
I'm
Your
not
makeup
gonna.
will run.
I know. My eyeballs.
Okay, now you have like an ongoing.
Mine's ongoing, yes. But I do remember growing up, and hearing noises and things, but it didn't scare me to the point of, like, I wouldn't go into the room or whatever, because I had the excitement and the thrill of being scared too, right? Because we all grew up with all these childhood horror movies, and so that was a part of her life, but I didn't separate it. But I guess that would be maybe purposely, or I wouldn't be where I'm at now if I was that scared and terrified of it.
Right.
But after my son passed, 3.5 years ago,
Who let the dogs out?
Your dogs are barking.
Not me.
We had lots of signs and indications, from things moving to hearing noises to the flickering lights, all that. And then I could relate back and think, oh, these things have been happening all along.
Yeah.
So I see it more as a beautiful thing, because they're just trying to get our attention.
Yes, and now don't you feel like it is, like people have these experiences and they don't know what it is.
So it scares them. Right?
Well, it scares them, or
that's
they
the
look back and say,
go-to.
"No, I've never seen a ghost. No, I've never seen
it's
energy."
just
And it's like,
anomaly,
"Oh wait,
yeah.
that light flickering, or that sofa that was there and it's now there. That's what that
right.
was." Like,
Right?
yeah.
Or I've had so many of my friends come to me now asking questions, because they'll say, I see shadows, or in my peripheral vision, things,
Yeah.
the flutters, and I said, yeah,
It's like, you're waking up, sister.
yeah. So that's really cool. So
Something right
I
here.
try to everything from the positive side.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And just
so it's
feed
all
it.
cool.
Absolutely.
But we still have fun with it and make it, eerie.
I know you've got some.
So we're going to go over to Emma and Gerald and see, Emma is a practicing medium, and so is Sarah, and Gerald's an energy healer, and you guys teach mindfulness and meditation over there in Belgium. So Emma talks to ghosts all day long.
That's her job.
That's her job. But tell us the difference, Emma. Maybe you're a great person to ask this to. The difference between a ghost and a spirit. Like, because I tend to think of a ghost being more of an earthbound and spirit. So, but you tell us how that works for you.
Well, I think it's just a label, but I think what people see as a ghost is a spirit who's either, like you said, who's earthbound, who can't cross over, or who's really just desperate and trying to get your attention. Because we do have spirits who will turn on lights off and on, who will turn on faucets, who have crossed over. They are just really desperately trying to get your attention. So it really depends on how you look at it. But there are entities who, for some reason, prefer to stay here, or who just don't know that they have deceased, who are still living in a loop of a reality that they are going through, and sometimes really need to be tapped on the shoulder and say, "Hey, it's time for you guys to go home." So
Party's over.
the way I see it is, I believe that all spirits and all ghosts have light inside of them, even if they scare you, even if they seem very negative. They all come from the same source. We all do. And sometimes spirits get lost for such a long time that they can't find their way to the light anymore, and they really start to dwell into very low frequencies. And in order to restore their energy source, because don't forget, in order to stay at this low frequency with their high vibration, that takes a lot of energy to continuously to stay here. So in order to regain that energy, they will sometimes lash on to people, or they will use the fear of people as their battery box, basically. That's how Eric always explains it to me. So I think that even if let's say your house is haunted, there are ways to connect to that spirit and to help them cross over, even if it seems impossible to do. Sometimes several mediums will have to come in if this is a very powerful, strong entity who's determined not to go home. Sometimes a lot of different mediums will have to join hands in order to help this person cross over. But either way, they can't hurt you unless you allow them to. And if you're feeling good, if you're positive, if you're at a high vibration, and you do not allow them into your reality, then there's nothing they can do, and they will move on to a person who is at a more lower frequency. A lot of people who are feeling bad, who are feeling down, who are depressed, who are really low in frequency, in some way or form, their energy shield around them, it gets kind of like Swiss cheese. It's going to be full of holes, and it's really easy for them to lash into you and to really attach themselves to you, because you're at a point in your life where you really don't care anymore, and you're just so down that the little piece of feeling good just a little bit of feeling good will open up to something. And that's what they do. When they do want to latch themselves to you, they'll make you feel good first. They'll get close to you. They'll get acquainted with you. They'll make you feel comfortable. And once that happens, in some way or form, you're giving them permission to come in. And so they do. And then once you get to that point, a lot of times I think dramatic things can happen. There have been reports where women kill their children and they have no recollection of doing so. Those are usually women who were depressed, who were on antidepressants, and I still believe that some of them, not all, but some of them really have been taken over by entities who enjoy these things. For me, when I look at my ghost stories, most of my stories are positive. Yeah. They're not scary ones. I have had to go to certain homes where people are like, there's an entity here and I don't like it. But usually those were entities who did stay behind because there was a fear of dying. They didn't know where they were going, and they would rather stay where they were comfortable. They were not aggressive towards the people. But I still have some crossover, and I always got thanks from them later, which is always great. Like 2 days later, I'll get a message and like, hey, that was me, and thank you. I was afraid of dying, and now you showed me the way. So this happens. I remember before all of this started for me, our house where I lived, my mom's house, was always very cold. No matter how high we put the heater, it was always extremely cold. And in my bedroom, exactly at 10 o'clock, I would always hear a knock on my wall. And, I grew up with that knock. So for me, it was nothing special, 10 o'clock, boom, there went the knock. I was like, okay. But I remember there was a time where the coldness got really bad, and all our electronics started to explode. Like we have a very old cupboard, a very old closet that we inherited, and our DVD player, or back then it was tape recorders. Right. It just exploded, and it was brand new. Things would start dying in my house, and so I went to a meeting at the time.
Yeah, those two.
No people, just electronics. Anything that was electronic wouldn't last very long after we bought it, and so I went to a medium for me. That was for me, not for the house. To get some advice, and she said, there's a closet in your house, and it's right next to your TV. And she said, there's entities in there, there's spirits in there, there's spirits in your home, she said. And she could tell me exactly where they were, and she had never even come to my house. And so she recommended a cleansing, and so we invited her, her and her husband, or her boyfriend at the time, don't remember, came over, and she was just going, she was cleaning one room at a time, and she was going, okay, in here, in my room, the knocking apparently was a baby that had been murdered by, so where our house is, that used to be a farmhouse with lots of land, big farmhouse. And apparently the farmer had knocked up a girl that helped out in the cleaning and in the farming.
Did he say,
and he had
knocked up? Okay.
Yeah, he knocked her up. And apparently, he killed her and the baby. Now the baby was still playing apparently in my room. Wow. That was the knock that I had, and she said, yeah. And then she went from that room to that room, and she eventually got to the closet. And the closet, it's a very old closet, and I know it had secret drawers. In World War II, people would hide their secret drawers. So it still has those drawers. And that she said that a mother with 2 children, a Jewish mom and 2 kids, have been hidden in the closet to hide them from the Germans. But the people who were hiding them were taken away and executed. And so this woman was so terrified, she stayed in there because she thought, when it's safe, I'm going to come out. So she was traumatized with her children in that closet. And she was never released. She died with her children of starvation in that closet. Wow. And so she was still in there. So when this lady, this medium comes up, she's like, yeah, they're still here, and so we're going to send them home so they can come to their families. Aww. And so nothing ever broke in that closet ever again after that happened. And the last one that she was the farmer who did murder the woman and child, and he was hard to get rid of. She had the whole session. She was there for a while. There was a candle burning that she had lit. And so my dad was standing next to the candle. He didn't know. He couldn't see anything. He just had to go off what they were saying. And so the medium yells at the boyfriend, "He's coming your way. He doesn't want to cross over." So he was running from them, which is really funny. And, you know, he was really kind of upset. He didn't want to leave. He didn't want to face what he did. There was a lot of anger going on. And so the candle next to my dad, it kept blowing out. He kept blowing out the candle, you know, and she kept relighting it. And they were like, "No, he's there. He's over there. He's over there." So she was, like, chasing him around. But every time he passed, the candle would go out. So she eventually got him to cross over. And my dad looked at the thermometer on the wall, and it literally went up with 10 degrees.
Wow.
After the house was cleared. And we never had any problems ever again after that. So that is my ghost story.
Those are amazing.
Those are amazing.
I love your ghost stories because yours are like full on. But I have a question for you. I think this is actually for all of us. There are a couple things. So the Tombstone tourist,
Yes,
Miss Kathleen
from down in Galveston. She's an amazing author, all about ghost stories and Galveston's amazing ghost history. We love her. We did a show last summer. Went and did the
It's
ghost
time
tour.
for her to come back. And she was writing a new book. I wonder if that's come out. Has it come out? You have to tell us.
You have to tell us if your new book is out yet, Kathleen.
So she had a question for us. Do you think that the devices that we use, the different, you know, the ghost
As someone who
counters and
communicates with spirits on a regular basis.
Yeah, thank you.
Talking to you, Emma. What are your thoughts about all of the devices being used for that purpose? Ghost boxes, EMF detectors, things like that.
Well, they do work. I've never tried them, but according to Eric, they are very accurate. You know, they've been using those EVP boxes and all of that for a long time already.
Yeah.
They've been around for a while. And basically what it is, it's all on frequency. That's what they're picking up. They're picking up on changes in frequency. Now, sometimes that can be a little disturbed, you know, according to if there are a lot of electronics in the neighborhood or things like that. It can give you a wrong signal. However, a lot of times they are pretty accurate on it.
I have an experience too. Ron, who's part of the Channeling Eric, he has a Facebook group where it's for parents who have had a child that's crossed over, and you can send in recordings, and they do the EVPs. So there were several on Adam. That was really exciting.
Oh, did you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, does it sound like him, or is
You
it
have to
pretty
slow it down
distorted?
so you can hear it. You have to slow it down. But yeah.
Oh, slow the whole tape down so you can hear it. All right.
Oh.
I wanted to ask Gerald if he has a little short ghost
first,
story.
Before we move on from that, Nora Yolis Young said that on our last video, there is I'm sorry, my arm's getting tired. There is an orb that goes across our
Oh, we
show.
were talking to David McCready all about aliens, and apparently there was activity in the
Did you
background.
see that?
I didn't get
Well, hopefully
get to go back
they're
and
all
see it.
around right now. I know.
Okay, Mr.
Well,
Gerald.
I've had videos as well where people could actually hear the voice of Eric, or he could hear voices. I had an angel, his name was Daniel, and I was, you know, the person I talked with, he always records our sessions, and so he sent me the piece where you can hear me saying the name of his angel, and you can hear the angel himself saying his name, which is really cool. So it does happen, and I think it's never coincidence. There's always a purpose behind it, because if they really wanted to, according to Eric, they can just go, "Hey, what's up?" You know?
Yeah.
They really. But there needs to be growth and evolution in humankind to really trust their own instincts. And so if they would just pick up the phone now and call you and give you all the answers, we would stop growing and we would stop
You'd
evolving.
atrophy.
And that's the purpose or the reason why they don't fully go, "Hey."
But that was when Elisa met that's when she heard Eric's EVP that said breakfast with his little inflection. That's how she's like, that's how I knew it was him. That little EVP just kind of
could hear it.
solidified it for her. Yeah.
Oh, and
That's
Kathleen said that she is almost done with her book, and she's taking a break so she could watch
the
it.
history of the Galvez. Oh, thank you.
I got
Happy
married there.
Halloween. Yes. All right.
Okay, Gerald, you're up.
Gerald, Thanks for joining us. It's fun to have a metaphysical man on the show. Yeah, you have a short little ghost story for us?
Well, it depends what you consider a ghost story and stuff like that stuff. I have two, but I'll go with this one. When I was a child, I used to have very vivid dreams. I used to go to sleep at night when I was a kid, though, and I used to have very realistic dreams. And then like a couple months later, the dreams I would see, like, that I would have, it would actually come true. Like, I would be in the store and I would see a tag on something like that, and it would be the exact tag I saw in the dream, the exact same store. And I'd be like, okay, this is weird. I didn't get it. So when I got a little bit older, when I was a child, my sister was very sick in the hospital one time, though. My older sister, Stina. Then we stayed at her mom's friend's house. Her name was Paulette. She was from Jamaica. And we all had to stay at her house. My sister was in Chicago at the hospital. And one night we were, I remember that night too, because I watched Scarface at night, and my mom never let me watch Scarface ever. And stuff. So I was in my bed sleeping that night at her house. And the weirdest thing happened. I could not explain it for the life of me. I saw this room. And I saw this bed. And I saw my sister laying on the bed. And all of a sudden, I see her looking at me like this and stuff, like she could see me. And all of a sudden, she started bleeding.
Bleeding or leaving?
Bleeding.
Bleeding.
Like bleeding like a
cut. Yeah.
or bleeding.
No,
Yeah,
bleeding like blood.
Yeah, like blood,
You say breeding.
Like actual blood, yeah. Yeah.
Breading? What is she doing?
Yeah, but you could actually see her bleeding though on the thing though. And
Okay.
it freaked me out though because I was like, is this really happening though?
Right.
It was I could feel like they were like doing surgery on her and something like that stuff. It freaked me out. I woke up. I was like yelling and screaming. And I went to my mom's friend. I said, "You gotta call the hospital. There's something wrong. I don't understand it. There's something wrong with my sister." She's like, "Oh, we'll call her first thing in the morning." I said, "No, you need to call her now." I said, "We'll call her in the morning." I said, "Okay, fine." So the next morning, my mom's friend called the hospital, and sure enough, during the surgery, they had complications during the surgery, and they had a hard time stopping the bleeding.
You saw it. You saw her in the bed bleeding, though. That's amazing.
Yeah, but I think she looked at you.
Yeah, she looked at me.
at you.
She looked at me.
I think what she did was
Like, help me.
she left her body
Yeah.
and she came and showed Gerald what was going on. I think that's what really happened.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Passed on. Help me, bro.
Awesome
that
story.
connection.
So
Thank you.
Connection is
It was-
amazing.
Yeah, I couldn't understand for the life of me, though, why I was seeing this, though, because I had a lot of dreams before I was a child that was very realistic, but that, for me, was by far probably one of the most realistic dreams I ever had, though, and I couldn't explain why.
and I think that one scared you so much that after that it stopped.
Yeah,
I
it
think he just locked and closed off his
Just put the
dreams
cap on it and said, no more.
dreams.
I'm out.
It scared him because this was his sister, and he was seeing her dying on his operating table, and it scared him.
That's
I
like
think
a
for him, it ended his
That's a-
premonition.
It's a spooky story with a great silver lining.
That's
isn't
right.
It?
Oh,
Yeah.
silver lining, Kari Mena and Allison.
Speaking of silver,
Well, okay, so we have two Jodys. So
Hi,
Jody.
Jody and Jody and Tracy, Kathleen, Melanie, Terry. Hi, Terry and Michelle.
My cousin Tess popped in.
Hi,
cousin Tess.
Cecil and Jennifer, Dawn, Sue, Kathleen, or Jennifer again. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween.
Hi, Amber.
Let's see. Jennifer is asking, do you think that spirit activity is more frequent on Halloween, or is it just about the same as any other time of the year?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
They're all looking
Do you
at
think
me.
all
I
the
don't
ghosts
know.
and ghouls come out on
Maybe
Halloween
we-
night?
I think we give it energy, right?
We give
Right,
it energy
feed
and we
it, so
invite
they
it.
feed us right back.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
We get
but
what we want.
But have you? I mean, do you really, or do we really go in with the intention of seeing people connecting, or do we go in with the intention of dressing up and helping our kids? And it would be interesting because I've never actually thought about trying to connect.
Nah,
On Halloween.
it's all about candy and costumes for me.
I know, candy and costumes.
Well, for our culture, yes.
Yeah.
right. See that? Wouldn't it be fun to go to Mexico for
Wouldn't it?
for
Dias
All
de los
Saints
Muertos.
night and
Yes.
yes, and Day of the Dead. But that's So I watched
I think
something.
it depends on the person, though. Some people will just see it as a holiday, as dressing up, but other people really see it as
Religion,
giving thanks.
yeah.
to spirits as well, giving the respect.
Well, the
And
whole
some people
line.
just see it as this is, people who truly love the dark, will really enjoy, these spirits are coming out. And I think because at that moment, all of us, even people who don't celebrate Halloween, the next day for us, we go into the graves and hand over flowers. So we're constantly thinking, the whole world is thinking about deceased loved ones that we kind of feed,
Right. That
spirit
consciousness.
coming forward. Yeah, so we're creating it into reality that they are communicating more clearly on that day.
Do you know, though, my grandfather, so going out to his grave, I went out to his grave once. He's like, I'm not there. Don't waste a
Right.
drive.
Don't
He's
honor-
up off
don't
of
honor my
59.
piece of
I
dirt.
get in the car and
Exactly.
go with you to
I
the
don't go
gravesite.
to gravesite.
Exactly.
I celebrate them at home with a candle. I say, here's my light for you, and love you.
Oh, that's
This is what we
beautiful.
do.
My mom does it, but she always goes to her father's graveside, though. I don't know why, but
We don't.
I think it's more for us.
We honor our deceased loved ones. Well, we do it every day because we talk to them every day. For us, it's a habit. It's
Well.
just a normal thing. But, on that special day or on their birthday, we will give them an extra candle or actually go out and eat pie and say, hey, get into our bodies and taste this pie because it's good.
Okay, that would be you. That's you. I'm not sure that I could give up do my story.
Yes. I want to hear. I want to hear.
tell us a story.
Ghost story.
Well, I feel like my whole life has been kind of a ghost story, and I'll start with when I've told this story before. I read Amityville Horror when I was like 10, 11, and just
Good
so
idea.
scared myself. It was a true story, and I would see the
Flies.
devil's. Yeah, but I would just see the pig's eyes in the window if I'd look out the window, or the devil's face on the wall, and I was just so petrified. So I launched myself full force into fear. And scared of ghosts. Anything. Paranormal, 10-foot pole, did not want to touch it. So fast forward until my mom passed away, and she'd been gone for 10 years, and I had a reading with a psychic medium who said, your mom's there, and she's full of light and love and angels. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was love. What was that? That reading was so healing and beautiful, and it put me on a whole different journey
Aw.
to turn what I had perceived as just such fear. Something was going to get me, something was going to, like you were talking about, Emma, some entity was going to overtake me and destroy me, was the sincere feeling that I had. And talk about put a lid on it, like Gerald. I said, no, nothing. So my whole journey from my late 20s has been kind of unlocking that lid to be able to now astral travel. My dad comes in my dreams, my stepdad, John Fallon, and I hug him, and it's a solid, real hug. It's there. It's him.
Wow.
And now I'm curious about spirit, and now that I have more of an understanding of how it works and why people, why a spirit would stay here on Earth, or they have unfinished business, or they just were low vibrating energy. And like you said, often there's a lot of guilt or fear associated with going to the light. Now I feel like I know they're there, but I don't attract them. I'm not worried about them anymore, and my lid's off. And okay, so a quick little ghost story. When we were with Kathleen and we went down to Galveston, we were touring the historic library. Do you remember the library?
Oh, this is a good story.
And she had a story about one of the librarians there who was a very proper gentleman, and he was there for years. He was, I guess, as a volunteer, as a docent, a librarian. I don't remember.
He gave a lot of money, and
Gave a lot of
loved
money.
the kids.
And we had passed by his portrait, and I just said hello and said his name, and from the wall it was like, ooh, and it was a silent library.
I heard it.
There was hardly anybody in there, and we're like, oh, hi, good to see you. He's right there knocking back.
Well, that was okay. So my version of that story is we were sitting there, and there really was just no one there. And Kathleen was she was just so awesome. She took us around everywhere, and Tiffany was like, "Thank you," and she was so sweet. She's like, "Thank you," and like said hi to him, and we did. We all heard that, and it's like, oh, did you just hear
You
that?
just said hi back.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was really cool.
It's nice to be able to communicate and talk
That's
to
awesome.
him now.
Well,
Yeah.
It's fun.
well, and I think there are a lot of things around you. A lot.
Say again.
I wanted to say something. You know how, Tiffany, you just said, for me, they just can't come in. That's just my thing. That's really you need to understand, because a lot of people ask me, well, you work with spirits day in, day out, day in, day out. Are you never scared you're going to have a negative spirit come in? But it is my belief system that I am protected and I'm loved and I'm surrounded with light, and they are not welcome. And I am in charge of my energy. Nobody's allowed to come in unless I invite them in. That is my very deep belief system. As soon as you believe that another entity can hurt you, that there is a possibility that somebody latches onto you, you are opening that possibility. And you know, that fear can create that, from happening. And so that's the thing. Know that nobody can touch you unless you request them. Now, just a quick ghost story. Every now and then, I do have entities who try to come into my body without my permission, and they usually do it when I'm sleeping. I always wake up because it is my belief system that they're not allowed to come in unless I give them permission. But it does feel very scary. You have this feeling like you're being penetrated. Don't get naughty thoughts, Kari.
Yes.
But,
Penetrated.
I can read her thoughts right now. I am reading.
Bring it, baby, bring it.
And it's not Gerald. All right.
You know, it feels kind of like you're suffocated. Like there's somebody on top of you. There's a weight, a pressure on top of you.
Perfect.
And so I wake up. And I wake up, and it is a scary feeling when it happens. But this is what I do, and I've had it twice. So it doesn't happen a lot, but I've had it twice. My mom has had it once. What you need to do, if that ever happens, I just tell myself, this is my body. I am protected with love and light, and you are not welcome. Leave right away. You are not welcome in my house or in my body. And then you literally feel there's this, it sucks out of you, and you're immediately back to normal.
Setting boundaries, yeah.
I've woken him up twice. I've woken him up twice going, I've had somebody just try to get in my body again, Steve. I get all mad at him. Like, you're not allowed. I'm protected.
Get out of
So
here.
my mom had the same thing, and it really scared her. But she said a similar thing. She said, I only want the good. I only want the light. You need to leave. And she felt the same thing. It just sucked out of her.
So I was just going to say, we just watched this deal with Teal Swan, and she was saying, and I love this because this has been coming up for me a lot, this protection and like not letting these things in, because it never occurred to me. I always felt like I don't bother you, you don't bother me, and I hear you guys.
I just don't.
That's a good belief.
But her point if you use law of attraction, her point is if you protect, there's something to protect.
Right.
And her thing is safety. How do you feel safe? Like, she uses hairdryer, cat purring. I love the hairdryer. It gets cold and I have the hairdryer on. And it's
Under her
just,
shirt.
Yeah, I do. It's like, oh. Anyway, so it
Great
is.
idea.
I mean, I've been doing that since I was about 8.
Love
But
it.
it is going into it with that peace of mind of, I feel safe. How do you feel safe? Because nothing can get in if you're safe.
Yes.
It's that belief system.
Yeah.
So you don't have to protect yourself.
I don't
You
do the
have to
protection.
worry about it.
I get guilty for
No,
that.
you don't have to. If you believe in your core that you're protected,
I'm way
then
too
you
fucking
don't
shiny.
need to worry.
Shiny.
And you don't need to protect.
You are.
You are. You really are.
That's true, because if you truly believe you need protection, then you also
Then you
believe
need
that there's something
protection.
out there.
And you're in that vibration of needing it, so then you need it.
That's right.
There you go.
So my mom in spirit has told me there's nothing on the side that could or would hurt you. So my belief system has done a 180 to now I just believe that. And William Linville had always said, where love is present, protection is not necessary. So I just say, okay, I'm love. We're all love. And anything other than that is just
I feel the same
a
way.
distortion that's
Yes.
not true. So, okay.
See, but the question is like when Em said, if you like there are folks that'll hop in and like when the mom takes her kids' lives, so that does actually hurt someone. So that's where I get confused, and I don't want to put anything into that. I mean, I don't want to put energy into that.
Well, maybe
but
that person
This
wanted
is-
to have that experience too.
Well, this is something that, I just am kind of dealing with myself. And I read it, not me personally, but I read a Teal Swan article, and it said that the reason that this could still happen is that somewhere in your past, you're not even aware that you still carry a vibration of fear.
Yeah.
You just don't know it's still there. You think you've overcome it, but it's still there. And that's where these
it's in.
entities, they match that vibration and they sneak right in there. So
You've got to be pretty diligent.
the only
about
way it can ever get
fearless.
through to you is because you allow it. So even if you don't get it,
Take
there is
responsibility.
something there that you don't even realize is there.
Well, we have a friend that has been going through something like that, like a psychic attack, and I found myself first going, "Ooh, you know what? I don't know if I ooh," and then it's like, "Oh, hell no, you need to go." And it was no,
Get out.
But that happened with my husband. He was my boyfriend at the time, and then, I was kind of awakening a little bit, and it was this completely black room, and there was this thing, and it was getting him, and we were all there. Well, it was the three of us, it and then Charles and me, and then there was I called a person that is really good with this stuff in my dream, and she's like, "No, you got this," and because I was terrified, and I realized the more terrified I was, I fed
It
it.
amplified.
And then I looked at it and I was like, "You need to move. This is, there's just no place here for you." And I mean, it was really powerful, and I said a lot of really, naughty words. It left. It was like, okay. But looking back, and I'm not sure who actually said this. It's like, was that a guide test? I mean, I don't know if they test you, but was it a see you are a badass? You don't have to be afraid of this stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So,
Fear will only the negativity and will only allow negative vibrations in.
fear.
So
That's true.
if you can live your life without fear and just trust that whatever happens to you happens for you, then there is no need for fear in this life. This is only temporarily. We all go home to a great place. We all go home to the same place and with the same amount of money, basically broke.
Right.
So what's the
It closes.
and without clothes, without
Yeah.
this body. So, why are we making such a big deal out of this life? You're just here to experience things, to say, oh, okay, well, that was unpleasant, but let's just move on. Let's
You
try and
sound
go
like
and
them
experience-
talking to us.
yeah.
You guys forgot what it's
You
like.
forgot when you're here. It feels really
It's
real.
really, really
These
real.
emotions
This is
feel
a great
really
simulator.
intense. But it's these afterlife interviews that you guys do on the Shiny Show, and that Emma that you do with Eric and Elisa. These afterlife
Sarah's doing
interviews,
two
and
of 'em.
Sarah, everybody
Two
is
of 'em.
doing these, where we're able to see things from that 30,000-foot view, and you start to understand. Maybe it was somebody's contract to do that to their victim, or maybe there was just a big life lesson for everybody to witness. Some horrible thing going on. But seeing it from that perspective, it gives me a real sense of, I don't know, comfort. I'm not afraid of it anymore. It has its place, and unless it's not gonna happen to me unless it's supposed to, and then okay, but I'm not drawing it to me.
That's true.
So that's given me a lot of comfort.
We're all going home to a lovely,
Yes.
wonderful,
No, but-
loving place where we meet again. Everyone will meet again. We are never separated.
But
And
we're programmed, though, to feel like life happens to us. If I don't go, I'm going to end up, if I don't go to the doctor, I'm going to get cancer. If I don't do this, this is going to happen. If I don't do that,
Fear.
and it's just this
Constant
fucking
fear.
Of trying to
And
catch up.
I'm going to get in a car wreck, or I'm going to lose my child, or I'm going to, and it just is, it's like I just found myself trying desperately to control. I was thinking about doing a prophylactic mastectomy. I mean, how screwed up is that? Just in case.
I know. I had to think. What is
Wow.
that?
It's get your boobs cut off.
fear.
Just in case.
Just
Our
in
culture,
case. That's crazy.
society creates that fear for us.
Eric's
Control us, yeah.
going, no,
That's true.
not the boobs.
Well, I mean, really, a free
Save
boob
the
job.
tatas.
I really had reached that place where I'm like, okay, it's kind of a boob job that the insurance pays for. I'm like, oh, that's so warped. And fortunately, before I went down that road, I kind of,
You had your wake up.
I was like, whoa, yeah. So, but like you were saying, I mean, it is when you realize that you are Nora says this, sovereign being, and nothing happens that either A, you didn't plan for, or B, you don't let happen, that you don't draw to you for a reason.
But it's not just with spirit or entities, it's in our everyday
Everything.
life.
Right, exactly.
Especially here, right here in Houston. I mean,
You've
I know
survived
so many-
something that
yeah.
don't know that I could.
and it just kind of pulled down all my walls, so I had no fear. I mean, once you
What
make
else
it
can
through
happen?
that, what else
The
can
worst
happen?
happens. Yeah,
The
you're
worst already
done.
happened.
You've
I'm
gone
done.
through the worst of it. That is so true. I don't live in fear either.
You don't.
My
You
mantra
really don't.
truly is I'm protected. And I'm surprised because I'm a crazy driver, but she just gets in my car. She must feel that sense of protection too.
And But you know what? That's how you and I work so well together. Because I remember in the beginning of my journey, many of my mentors, you've got to like protect yourself. You got to go through all this and da, da, da. And I'd say, Kari, you got to protect yourself. You got to call in the archangels. And you're going, I don't even believe in archangels.
Well, yeah, that's from the Bible. They're fake.
See how we helped each other?
We got to hear that story.
I got to share archangels and Jesus with you, but then you got to turn around and tell me you don't need to protect yourself. Just be in a better, higher place, and you're good.
So Michelle Palmer is saying,
so-
I feel when you first start out, it can be important maybe to protect.
Yes,
and you're
yes.
starting
You're
out,
open
but,
to everything.
but
Yes.
it's no longer necessary. Fear is no longer a part of me within my work. Absolutely, I think that's what we're
Yes.
saying here. You've
Let
got
me
once you become it,
adjust that a
once you
little.
become it.
Yeah.
Instead of saying you need protection, just say thank you for
Something
loving
gratitude.
me. Thank you for
Thank-
protecting. Just be grateful. It's a different vibration.
Absolutely.
Than sending out you need protection. When you just send out a vibration of appreciation, hey, thanks for having my back, guys. Thanks for all the love and light that you send me on a daily basis. If you start your day off with that kind of protection, and not see it as a protection, but just saying thank you for having me protected.
Yeah.
It's gonna turn the vibration inside of you to a really high level instead of having a protection spell send out in some way farm to protect you from all that negative stuff out there. So just be appreciative and just say thank you for protecting me and loving me.
Okay, so she has the talking donut. She has a story.
Oh, this is the
Talking
talking
donut.
donut.
This is the
I
talking
didn't know.
donut.
Okay, I thought she was just feeding me. Okay, so I thought it's right away because you are the fallen angel, right? I'm switching gears. I'm going
Lucifer.
I'm going to aliens right now.
And this is Frozen. How do I get her
So
back?
Emma froze. But
No,
you're the
she's
fallen
back.
angel, right, girl?
No, we're
I'm
good.
fallen angel.
Okay, well,
That's-
I just learned that my husband, my new husband, Avery, Sam told us a story. Well, first of all, I want to back up a little because this is the SARS. If you guys are following along, I'm like involved with this race of
Okay, you're married.
aliens. I'm
You're
married.
human version.
I got
version.
two husbands.
But in an ethereal
Polygamist.
version,
Yeah.
you have
In this
an,
reality,
an
I had a-
alien
love me.
husband.
I had a whole wedding and everything, which I'll have to talk about a different day. But the Sarsar children, they're celebrating their first Halloween this year.
Are they the tall whites?
They are one of the tall whites. This is the Sarsar variety of the tall whites. And so they're going to do their little trick-or-treating in their own little
Are
hood.
they
They're,
going to dress as humans or
they're,
what? No!
they're dressing up. You know what they want to be for Halloween?
What?
Heather. So they're wearing a
Is she the rock
t-shirt
star?
and a bun. So I dressed up like that for my last interview with Sam. So, and I tried to fool Sam, but he saw right through me. He knew it was me,
knew.
not Heather. I just couldn't fool him.
We all don't look alike.
So I know.
Energetically, yeah.
So I was asking, what are they going to collect? Because they don't eat candy. They can't eat our diets. So they have some kind of sugar from their tree bark back home. Maybe they import it. I don't know. And they make these tree sugar cookie candy things. And so that's what they're getting, little fruits and things like that. So they're going to have their first experience for trick-or-treating tonight. And that just makes me feel so, I don't know if proud's the right word, but I just feel glad that the communities are coming together and learning each other's
my
cultures.
gosh. You'll have to find out what they
bridge.
celebrate that we could celebrate
Oh,
here.
I will. I'll try to
Find
figure
out, like,
that
it's
out.
some
I
tradition
will.
that we can incorporate here.
But let me talk about this fallen angel business
Yeah, I wanna
because
hear that.
this is funny to me. Sam told us that their race is actually in the Bible, and they are what we call the Watchers. And shoot, I have a screenshot of this particular story about it because I don't know anything about the Bible, and I can't find what I'm looking for right now. But I can find it. Hang on, give me like 13
Well,
seconds.
and it's interesting because Tracy put a comment saying she used to have a reoccurring dream and that there was a man that kept visiting her. So I'm wondering if he was like one of those watchers, the man in the bowler hat.
If he was the
black-
bowler hat guy.
Yeah, that's a common.
Okay,
right?
So
The
this is
watchers.
what it says. It says in the book of Enoch, you're gonna love this. The Watchers are angels dispatched to earth to watch over the humans. They soon begin to lust for women, and at the prodding of their leader, defect en masse to illicitly instruct humanity and procreate among them. And that's basically like a twisted version of what's really going on, because we're involved in this alien hybrid program to propagate the species in a mutated way so that they can survive on Earth. But isn't that trippy? So they are the fallen
totally
angels
trippy.
from the Bible.
That's that movie with Meg Ryan, Angels, City of Angels.
City of Angels.
He falls in love with her. Nick Cage falls
Yes,
in
right,
love with her, and he
Mhm,
falls.
Mhm,
I love that soundtrack.
That's it. Avery fell, and he's given up like 300
way,
years of his
plug that.
life because I'm that special. And I'm so in love with him. It's the weirdest thing. I don't even know how, but I'm like so in love with him.
Are you in love with him or are you in lust?
Yeah.
Both. It's like they're
Wow.
synonymous.
Your eyes glowing.
Are they
Seriously.
glowing? Whew.
You having a hot flash there, sister?
She's in her
He
honeymoon
was, he
period.
was postponed menopause, you think?
I don't
Okay, we digress.
I don't know.
Ancient aliens, they talk about that, the Enoch with the fallen angel.
Well,
It's
I got
one of
one.
those-
I got
yeah.
me a fallen angel.
Wasn't Metatron either Enoch or he was one of them? He
Metatron
was actually
is
a human.
Enoch. There are
And
two
Metatron-
humans.
the brothers.
Metatron
Two
and
human-
Sandalphon.
Sandalphon.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're
brothers.
the only humans that have ever achieved archangel status. So they're pretty special.
Yeah.
Right.
But we're going to
Metatron.
expand that.
We are.
We should do a whole show on that. On
Us.
She's on my wait, what? Oh my goodness.
We'll expand that.
I'm ready to expand.
yeah.
Okay.
We'll expand.
Wait, how are we
We're
expanding?
going to join Metatron and Sandalphon.
Oh, we're going to become the human archangels. Okay, I get
Okay,
it.
I was like, wait, what? Wait, we're not back on sex, are we? We are?
You got to expand more.
And let me
more
just,
about
I'm going to
love.
go ahead since we're talking about them. I'm going to brag just for a second. You guys
Uh-oh,
should
wait.
go watch my shiny show with Metatron because, no, I'm not. Because he
Remember
talks
that
about my
conversation we had
energy
the other day?
healing. She's made. because
No.
She filtered
Amsterdam.
me. I'm
Not
not
the
allowed
place,
to
not the
say,
place.
not allowed to say certain words about Avery's
Nope.
appendage.
Nope. You did it.
I didn't
you
say
did it anyway.
No, you told me I'm not supposed to say those other words.
Keep walking.
That's
keep
it. I'm
walking.
done. Done. I like it though. Okay.
And we're down
this
to
is
5
the
viewers.
censored. This is the censored version of the show.
People are going, what?
I got
are they
censored.
talking
But
about?
there's love and
beep,
sex and marriage and kids in every race. I mean,
rock
this
and roll.
This is part of
Yes.
life all over the galaxy. All over the
No, it's true.
universe.
So that is actually very true. Anyway, okay, I digress. So Bobby has been standing this whole time. I just realized.
We took
He's
his
been
chair.
standing the entire
We have a
time.
full house
Just
today
realized
here.
I was standing.
Actually, I
Okay, cool. Got it.
Okay, I'm going to read. Jennifer has a comment. She said her grandmother was a very devout Christian and believed all the stuff about hell and judgment. And when she reached the other side, she found there was only unconditional love.
That's beautiful.
Ah, drop the mic.
Yeah.
That's it. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
We're here to experience all of that not knowing
Oh.
and contrast and drama and
Yes.
all the emotions. And then we go back and we go, oh.
And we can look at how society has kind of like formed us with Amityville Horror. Mine was The
Oh,
Exorcist.
oh,
you know,
yes.
reading that
Freddy
book
Krueger.
in 5th grade. All of it.
Gosh, you guys read scary stuff when you
I
were
know.
young.
I have a
You
question.
can't
Huge
undo
impact.
it. You can't pull it out of your
No.
brain.
You
once
can't
it's in there.
undo all of
No,
it.
I tap.
It's
Now
a
I know
seed.
how to tap it out.
There you go.
Linda
Okay.
Blair. Linda Blair.
Linda Blair.
Linda Blair. Linda Blair. Linda Blair.
Even though she scares the
Blair.
shit out of me.
Oh, no, I will tell you, just real quick, EFT is an amazing tool to unplug that emotional charge
That's- and
from
unhooks
whatever
it.
trauma
Yes.
or drama or stuff you have witnessed. You still will have the memory, but you get to reprogram it and let your body release that. So look up EFT if you do feel like you have this fear.
I need an EFT. Not for fear. I need it.
I will give you an EFT.
Thanks.
Why though? And someone kind of brought this up under the ghoulish, like why do we like the ghoulish outfits and stuff? And there's a lot of stuff on YouTube that talks about kind of the origins of where the darkness comes from in this. But my question is, as I'm going through the aisles, like, why do they think my fantasy outfit is a freaking hooker? I mean, why? You know, why?
Oh, you talking about all the sexy
I'm wearing
costumes now?
two because this thing is
Yeah.
so low. I mean, why? Like they all barely cover your bottom, and
We'll blame it on the
The
Kardashians.
sex sells.
no, it's been like that forever.
Sex sells.
Yeah, but why do
It's
they
the
think
oldest
that's my fantasy? Is I want to look like
Like we've lived
a
that
maid.
past life.
I want to
I
look
like
like
a
a
life.
I want to be a hooker. I'll look like a hooker.
You've already
It
been there,
remind
done
me.
that.
I know. It
You've
remind me
been
of the
there, done that.
brothel from the good old days.
Oh, it's like going home again.
Right.
How
And you know,
nice.
Michael used to make my costumes for me. My outfits.
We're talking about past lives that these guys have all understood and
instincts.
shared, and yeah,
Yes.
we've all been there, done that.
Not me, man.
So who's going
No,
trick or treating tonight? Where are you going?
No, Astros.
Our Astros
Oh,
are in the
that
World
has to
Series.
go on for like 10 hours.
Oh, my God.
Charles was at that game. He got home at 1:30 in the morning.
Houston is
that was-
just a buzz right
an
now.
amazing game.
So Halloween
yeah,
and the Astros
exciting.
same night. It's going to be huge. Huge.
Huge. Well, I have yeah, that's so much fun.
Oh,
So
Michelle
I,
is saying it's the time of the year you have a see, to bring out your inner goddess, your inner slut.
see, now
Your
I
inner
realize
slut.
you
I
like
love
that.
it.
Yeah, but when you have
There
a
you
bunch
go.
of
I've been
teenage
working on that
boys
for
around,
years.
It's a
I
little
know.
creepy. I
Here's your
can't.
permission. Let it fly. Let your
Right.
freak flag fly.
Yeah, that's I think my favorite. My mother used to. Mom. I told her I would do a shout out to her if she's on. But I was telling her. I said, one of my favorite years. One year, we didn't have a lot of money. I mean, we didn't know we didn't have a lot of money, but we just really didn't. One year, she's like, oh, I have an idea. She took a box, she cut holes, and she drew a cube on it, a Rubik's Cube. And she's like, there you go. Go out of the house in my Rubik's Cube.
How did you carry a candy bag?
I probably didn't. And then
stick it in the box.
My mom and my mom
You're a
made.
pinata. Whack it.
Glad we weren't friends. You would have hit me. But one year she made costumes, and it was these bumblebees. And she and my dad, she and my stepdad, my brother and his wife, my brother and his girlfriend before that, everybody went as these bees. I mean, it was the
Everybody
funniest
had to
thing.
do the bees.
Bees. Was that
Everybody
the
did
year of the
bees.
bees? Bagwell bees?
No. This is like back in maybe
Killer
90,
bees.
92, like way back.
So I offered my kids $20 each to not bring home a big bag of candy.
Really?
That is a great idea.
Or you
am
can bring home the
so-
candy. We'll dump it in our candy bowl, give it
And we'll give it
away,
back out.
and I'll
Right.
give you $20.
There was
I
no
like that
currency.
idea.
She suggested that with my kid. I'm like, there's no currency that he.
He's not into money. Yeah.
No, I mean,
He's got a currency, as Dr. Phil would say. Kids
is
got
his
a
currency would be
Games.
tablet time, but I
Yeah.
can't say I'm going to take it away from you.
Oh,
You know,
right.
give
Give it back.
candy.
Yeah, on the
Right.
holidays,
Or
Halloween is not an iPad day.
an iTunes downloadable game money or some credit
Skin?
that you can download something.
I don't know. I'll work on it.
Because this
Well, he made a deal with me. He's going to keep the favorites and chuck the rest. So he's
Which-
like, I'm not going to trick or treating if you're going to make me throw my candy away. I won't make you throw it all away.
Keep
I'm
the
going
good
to eat
stuff.
half of it. I'm just kidding.
That's why I haven't bought it yet, because I really do. I'm like, honey, hide it. And then I'm like running through the
I bought
house
it
trying
this
to find
morning.
it. Did you?
Yeah, bags.
Let's go to your house
too. I got
after.
bags of it.
leftover
stuff, though.
chocolate, I'll make cookies. So just whatever chocolate's left,
Oh,
I cut it up, make chocolate chunk cookies.
Sarah's the best.
It's going to be.
baker.
I'm going to have some sour patch kid cookies.
Your
Sweet
mouth
tart
is drooling.
Sweet tart.
nerds.
See what you guys have to look forward to next year when
Yummy.
you're here.
Sarah Savage,
Okay, let's
Sarah
see.
Cabbage Patch Kid cookies.
Next year, our first treat. For
Are
my
you-
kids, too.
That's right.
I do have a story when I was a kid though. My mom had the idea was she wanted to get into a gumball machine. They put a plastic bag, all balloons, and so that I went trick or treating. By the time I done trick or treating, all the balloons started falling out while I was trick or treating. So at the end of the night,
It was
I
just
had
a trash
no balloons
bag.
left. It was a plastic bag.
It's like little rainbow poop,
guys are
little
getting
rainbow
great.
pellets that you're leaving as you walk.
What are you for all in? Just a trash bag. That's the best my mom can come up
Dan
with.
Aykroyd. Put some glass
What's this?
in it.
Look what I found stashed.
Carrie.
Oh no! I'm going on now. I'm getting
It's kiwi.
possession.
Kiwi.
Catnip.
Look at this. You've been doing it. What have you been doing?
She's got
Sarah.
a
All right, Miss
stash
Blark.
of catnip in there. Oh, she's getting
Uh-oh.
arrested.
This is gonna get fun.
Oh, she's
Sarah,
getting
you're
arrested.
so funny.
Uh-oh.
Wait.
Somebody, yeah.
Where's the headboard?
Somebody's coming down on her. Wait.
That's so funny.
Woo! My new silver bracelets.
Yeah, sparkly, shinies. The silver
They come
lining.
with the key. They're not very.
You have the right to remain silent.
That's right.
After the show. After the show. Eat a donut.
I'll be
Here,
back. Wait, I'm gonna need the donuts for my
Funny.
cat.
Oh yeah, you better take this with the catnip. You get your kitty.
Oh
and
my
your stuff.
gosh, we've lost everybody.
Is this your nickel bag?
Is this your nickel bag?
Guys, thank you for joining us. We're almost out of time.
are.
I hope everybody
So much
has a
fun.
really safe, fun, happy Halloween tonight. Go Astros. We want to win this World Series. Houston could really use an amazing one like
gosh.
this. I mean, it's just been like the best,
Altuve.
best games ever.
Is he not just the
Oh,
cutest thing ever?
no.
He like hops 10 feet.
he's
Who's
just
that
so
boy that you were
happy.
talking about?
Yeah,
Little home
Altuve,
run
little
hot
tiny-
shot?
He's a little
Yeah.
tiny guy.
I haven't
Yeah.
watched the
Home run
game.
hot
Well,
Don't tell
and
me when.
Emma
What a
and
blessing
Gerald,
it is for the team.
thank you guys so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us from
Y'all are
Belgium.
so
and
cute. I can't wait for y'all to see this.
are y'all going to trick or treat now that you're all dressed up, or go
What are you
pass
kids
out
doing?
candy?
Yeah.
What are
See
they-
what they
Go
do.
knock on people's doors.
Go
and,
out
"Can I
to
have
dinner
candy?"
like that.
You be sure you give Moppy and Poppy a love for me, Kay, and don't scare your little girls with your blood sucking
Where are they?
vampire
My
costumes.
kids, they're at Grandma and Grandpa's. My kids don't get scared. I mean, my dad has a skeleton hanging in the living room that talks and You know, it scares them. They're just like yanking on its leg. And they're like, yeah. My kids have no fear, none whatsoever. They don't know what fear is.
That's awesome.
All right, well, I'm
Guys.
going to have some energetic catnip waiting for you. We're going to...
Thank you.
Thank
Please
you.
Love
like-
you.
Bye, guys. Love you
Please
guys.
like, share, subscribe, and see ya on the next JoyRide. Bye.
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 Happy Halloween.